But Donald Trump also had some strong words of warning for Hamas when it comes to the hostages who are still being held captive in Gaza. Have a listen to this.
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Can you elaborate? And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
Now, reports have come out that Hamas has put together a list of 34 hostages it is now potentially willing to release as part of a ceasefire deal. Does this suggest to you that Trump's tough talk, where Joe Biden failed to do anything in the way of tough talk since October 7th regarding Hamas, is going to actually pay some results here?
At least it's getting us to the starting blocks. Now, the problem is that Hamas wants a huge number of political prisoners who have been convicted of capital crimes. It wants to substitute live hostages for the bodies of hostages who passed away. So all of these things are still problematic, but it's the Trump pressure that's counting. And let's explain something to our dear friends at the ABC. Even Secretary Blinken has been saying repeatedly, and in the New York Times, you've read it, James, that it's Hamas that's blocking the deal. The Israelis are willing to make concessions to get their poor hostages out of those depraved circumstances with these beasts in the airless tunnels underneath Gaza. But something is going to happen, but the pressure will come not just on Mohammed Sinwar, who Trump may say can be assassinated like Haniyeh or Nasrallah. It could come on Turkey and Iran. Turkey's got the Hamas leaders there, and I can imagine Donald ringing up Erdogan saying, a la Tony Soprano, now you get those guys or give them the Midnight Express treatment to release those hostages. And he also could free up the CENTCOM to bomb some IRGC sites in Iran, because after all, James, as we know, the Iranians are the ones who are the paymasters of Hamas, Hezbollah, etc. This is a seven-front war. It's not just the poor Palestinians in Gaza that are subject of all of this. It's a seven-front war against Israel. I wish the ABC would explain that to its listeners and to all Australians.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, I want to come back here a little closer to the home, where Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke is under fire following revelations. The government has canceled fewer than 5 visas in relation to anti-Semitic rhetoric or conduct since October 23. James Patterson, the opposition Home Affairs spokesman, has slammed the government's response. And I want to ask you, Michael Danby, do you really think, this is good enough?
This is a crazy policy. Since when did Australia arrogate to itself the fact that we're getting 3,000 people from a war zone that are only imperfectly checked? Only when Home Affairs refers them to ASIO are they checked. This is ridiculous. Tony Burke better hope that some of those people who he is allowed to remain in Australia don't get involved in any other incidents, because he will, there'll be a political hanging party for them if he does. I also think one of the worst decisions that this government has made in this Middle East policy comes from him. Again, with the 13-page interrogation he subjects all Israeli tourists to. There are no such interrogations for people coming from Greece or from Turkey or from any democratic country in Europe parallel to the Israelis. Not even people from China or Russia are subject to this. He wants to know their family history in these interrogations. He wants to know what units their parents served in the military. Where is this information going? Tony Burke's got a real bee in his ear, and this is a terrible policy. And hopefully, when Mark Dreyfus goes to Israel, the Israelis will implore him and get him to come back to Australia and have it reversed.
Well, if only it was Penny Wong going over there rather than Dreyfus. But anyway, there we are. Michael Danby, thank you so much for your time and for walking us through all of that.